Alright everyone, this is a walkthrough of the treehouse that I built. This was all inspired by my buddy Frank. He mentioned it offhand that a friend of his had actually built a treehouse around there. So the whole point of that being is that I started with a couple of levels and I worked my way up. I expanded from there. Alright, so as you can see, you can go up the stairs. You can see, and most of this stuff is done by a very simple ladder system. A lot of it actually defies the laws of gravity and physics, but in some way, shape, or form, all these pieces just stick together. It's like something you could pull out of Minecraft. These are actually stairs that connect, so I kind of just two-tier steps that didn't quite connect. And actually, if you see the left one right here is the inverted one of the right one, and if you can go underneath, you can actually tell that they are floating in the middle of the air. So that's kind of weird. You work your way up here, you put some chicken wire there. Over here there's clearly not, but there's a grander scheme of that, and I'll show you in a minute. Over here I put some more chicken wire. That was just, you know, to make it homelier, but that's actually a gate, believe it or not. So that works as a trap gate, as a quick escape. I can actually close that on my way back out. Due to space restrictions, I couldn't actually make it work where I could make trap gates out of everywhere. Although I did design it in mind with being a sniper and having to make a quick descent. As you can see right here, this wide gap, but there's no chicken wire, there's no fence or anything like that. That is for the quick descent. Over here I was thinking a storage area, maybe a bed, good stash for rockets, sniper rifles and whatnot. And actually this piece became very crucial in the whole development of this place, because it can actually allow you access up this ladder, but as you can see in third person, it does not interfere. Now your body magically glitches through the tree branch, which is weird, but as you can see, that's enough headspace where you can go upstairs and come back downstairs freely. You can still have a roof over your head right here, which makes it, you know, a lot more functional with that hole that allows you to go up these stairs. You walk over here, that's actually a ill-placed floorboard, although it had to be that way because that's the only way that the sprite would allow me to prop that up. I actually couldn't prop that up level with all of these other ones, so it's just floating in the middle of the air. Like I said, it's weird, but you know, you get over it. The main purpose of this block actually is so you don't fall through, because as you can see, that's a solid 3 stories down and you can take a lot of damage on the way down. As you can see, my health bar on the bottom left, yeah, you lose half your health just for falling. So I mean, it looks weird, it's a bit ill-placed, but it prevents a lot of falling damage. So as you can see, everything else has a wall. The whole top tier doesn't have a roof because the tree wouldn't allow it. And I don't know if there's a cap to how many levels you can put on this, but it actually doesn't look bad because from the bottom you can't really tell. Work your way over here. There's another, I would say about 4 units down, and you come over here. It's a pretty solid area over here. For the most part, I put these large planks just so they'd allow me to attach these end wall units with a tilted roof, and I actually found it quite amusing that it was Jangles the space monkey, and you know, you put the sheets up there. I thought it was a neat little homage, and you know, it's a good, how do I put this, it's a good way to snipe, and you can have the monkey sheets, so I thought that was cool. You wander over here to this side. I put another sprite right there where it would prevent me from falling. And that one is actually an individual single unit wall. It prevents you from falling. This one too, and so is this one. So you got to kind of get creative with every nook and cranny, because there's a very good likelihood that you will in fact fall and possibly die. So if you're in the middle of building it, I would strongly advise you that you put some kind of guardrail, even if it's just a temporary measure. And as you can see, there's a second sprite over here that repeats. There's one right here, one right here, one right here, and one right here. So that's a total of 4 units, but it's the exact same thing. You can actually make it look very uniform. You put 2 single base units right there, close off that wall, because otherwise what you're going to be looking at is 2 big gaping holes in that corner right there, and you will plummet to your death. No, so there's that. As you can see, that actually brings us to the crucial point right here, where I was mentioning about the stairs first. You can actually climb on this tin roof. You can descend fairly quickly and take minimal damage compared to over there, but I would not advise it. Now, the way I designed it is actually so that this whole level here, you can see dog meat over here, but you can actually hop down from this hole on the ceiling. And then that's the whole reason why this part over here was left without any wall or chicken wire, because if you need to make a quick descent, you hop down from that top tier to that hole in the tin ceiling, these stairs, and then you hop over here. So just to give you a frame of reference. So let's say you're shooting guys. I know I don't have a scoped weapon. I'm not very far in the main quest or even in the game. I haven't scavved anything good, but you can see you got a pretty good line of sight all throughout your whole entire settlement. Something I haven't really given you a tour of, but as you can see, you walk over to this tin roof. That house is completely empty. It's vacant. I scrapped everything. When you start the game, that's going to be a ruined house. You scrapped everything in order to make this. You walk over this way, and that's actually a lot of stuff is gone from there. So my settlement actually looks pretty cleaned up, but it doesn't start off that way. So most of the stuff you're just going to scrap, and you'll end up using for a lot of this. There's a lot of stuff laying around that you didn't know. You can actually build up to that bank right there. You take a look at your map, it's actually a makeshift moat. I don't know, it's kind of dark, you can't see it, but you see the arrow, and I'm outlining this. So your whole settlement is actually kind of a moat, because if you activate the workshop, as you can see that green border, that's the cutoff line to where your settlement is permitted to build. So there's a single house over there, haven't used that. This one I might use for squatters, but as you can see, my town limits are actually this border over here, which isn't very well guarded, obviously, because I got the sniper's nest up here, and that house is completely vacant. I've scrapped everything from there. That house and that house over there, those are actually used as buffer zones. I actually ran out of material halfway through building that border, so I actually used those houses as a buffer zone in between the walls that I actually currently have. As you can see, there's the main gate. I intend to use all of that road for building a bazaar. I've actually got people starting to come to my settlement, but this actually is a barracks. So if you descend from here, that's a quick drop. Let's run past that vacant house. As you can see, the main gate doesn't extend very far. There's just, I'd say, about a city block from here. You wander over here, and that's actually the other edge of the city gates. Everything else is completely clear. I've scrapped most of the stuff over there. There's still a car here at the odd end here and there. Main thing is that I scrapped this whole entire building for the purpose of putting that turret up there. That turret, once I show you, it actually has very good visibility. So I haven't had any invaders come wandering through yet, but in case they get the bright idea to, as you can see over here, they actually have a nasty little surprise. You imagine yourself as a turret. You put yourself in the line of sight. If you're covering, I'd say, a wedge from about 9 and 12. You can see it's a pretty good line of sight. I think it's safe to assume that if this is the only thing, or I'm sorry, the only pathway in or out, it's going to be that bridge over there. I think it's safe to assume that this turret has actually got pretty good cover. So that whole plaza right there, where that house used to be, that's dead man's land. I intend to put booby traps there. I'm going to put landmines, whatever else I can rig up. I noticed there was a lot of other cool stuff in the inventory that you can set up. Trip wires, there's delayed on and off switches. I'm sure those will come in handy later. But right here, as you can see, is a very basic plantation to meet the basic needs of water and food and power. It's all pretty straightforward. You got your recruitment radio beacon. There's a small guard post up there. That's only to overlook the lower part of that hill where that playground is at. I don't intend to scrap those things. I'm going to use those as buffer zones. Maybe I'll put landmines over there too as well. Over here in between these two wedges, I'm going to put some kind of flamethrower or some kind of booby trap. I don't know. I haven't thought it out through yet. I haven't found enough cool stuff. So we're going to hop over this way. As you can see, one of my indentured servants is picking some melons. Ah, the good old days of Reconstruction. I got lights over here. They come on at night. It's pretty cool. You just see the crops growing. And it's pretty straightforward over here. Picket fence. Come up here. It's a pretty good vantage point. Not as good as the tree house, but in case I'm up there sniping, I can have the AI over here playing defender. That house actually still has some junk in it. I'm saving it for later. Possibly I will repurpose that white picket fence. I'm not quite sure yet. You can build all the way up to the wall, but I'm not going to extend that far. Come back over here. This house is a buffer zone. As the picket fence, there's the house, and then there's this fence. And other than that, there's those hedges over there. You follow the cul-de-sac, and there's our backyard treehouse again. So over here, you got the workshop. You got most of the benches. I'm missing a couple of them. You got power armor. I got a spare suit. Haven't really started working on that. There's a lot of cool mods. I'm sure I'll get around to it. You wander over here. One of the few things you need to know is that you need food, water, power. Pretty straightforward. I'm not sure how many people I can accommodate. From the looks of it, that bar in the top right where it says size, it's almost reached its maximum capacity. So I can only assume it's directly proportional to the amount of resources you have in stock. Small lounge area. This suite for El Presidente. And just random stuff. Safe, so on and so forth. Personal quarters. Now you wander over here, and there's actually another buffer house. It's full of junk. I actually put a fence there. It doesn't belong there. But that is to say, if anybody were to invade from the northwest over here, they would just run into broken down houses. You run to this end of the roof here, and it's actually a fence. It's a very tall junk fence. There's no way in or out. So if anybody was trying to invade, they'd actually be forced around here. Kind of bottleneck them, don't let them mass anywhere. And that's it for the tour.